Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This will be another vinyl collection update, and as said in my last video, I wouldn't be buying too many records now because Record Store Day is coming up soon. But I have some few records to talk about, and let's start with the one I've talked about in length on the channel actually, but as mentioned as well, I had 2 orders for this record. Because I was curious about the Japanese import vinyl for the Mitski album that means something to me by now. And this Japanese import, I picked it up in the mail, not knowing anything about the release. There was no information about it online or relevant information about it online until I actually did the unboxing. And found that this was a disappointment for a few reasons. One, this is basically another US pressing, done at the same pressing plant as my other version, and then shipped to Japan with where they added probably or prior the obi strip in Japanese. This little sheet of paper that has a cartoon and Japanese lyrics. And also, as it says on the back on the obi strip, it says that it has a bonus track, and I thought, oh wow, great, there's something special about this still. The bonus track is a cover track by Pete Townsend called Let My Love Open the Door. But the unfortunate thing was that that song was a downloadable song from a code, which is easily available online anyway. So that's not something special. So when you open the plastic, you basically get the US pressing of the Golden Cat version of this. And I said to myself, okay, fine. I took the risk not knowing what to expect. It's what it is. But if it sounds fine, I'm probably keeping this version anyway. So I started comparing to my other version, not expecting it to sound different because it's pressed at the same place, and it seemed to be a little bit cleaner actually. But the thing is, I just listened on the side B the first night because I opened it quite late, and the next day I checked out side A, which had the typical surface noise running from track 1 to the last track on side A. That took me back to the other Dead Oceans releases and Mitski albums that had been disappointments in the past. And now I had paid for this expensive Japanese import, so that made it a bit worse. So not keeping it, not selling it, so that someone else would have to deal with the surface noise, of course. And the vendor suggested that I could get a replacement copy. But not possible because this is a collectible item and sold out. The only option was to do the refund. This particular store has a policy. You need to bring the cutter, and I had to destroy this beautiful record to get the refund. I managed to avoid that in the past, but this time I actually had to destroy it. That was a bit of a rough day. And to make myself feel better about the whole situation and my stupidity, I went down to the second-hand record store in Oslo called Rock'n'Rolls. I've been there a few times recently and I found some cool stuff. And I found myself buying more second-hand now that I had been prior to, I guess, starting this channel. And look through some new crates in the pop rock section. I went and found some cool records on the S section. The first one I picked up, it was something fun to pick up, I thought. It cost only 100 kroners, which is about exactly $10 US these days. This record by the pop singers from the 60s, Peter Sarstedt. I know this guy because of the song Where Do You Go To My Lovely. This guy is often thought of as a one-hit wonder, And I only knew that song myself, a song that I found quite amusing. Discovered it because Wes Anderson used it in his short film running up to his feature film, The Darjeeling Limited. And I always found that song amusing. I like the way he used that song in this short film. I'm not too sure about the feature film, but yeah, discovered this song, and I was curious about the rest of his output, if he had other cool stuff. So just something I got to because of my curiosity. I've only listened for this once, and yeah, I find it amusing. A bit of a messy production on some of the songs. Not so sure about the overall quality, but interesting to pick up. And I'm sure you can find this very easily at secondhand stores around at a good price. And this is a pressing from 69, I think. Not the original, but some early pressing from the 60s. And also thought it would be cool to get some more 60s records, because I don't actually have too many. I have the usual stuff, Stooges record and the Beatles and Hendrix and stuff like that. But yeah, something nice to pick up. And also for a good price, I picked up 2 records from this band that I didn't expect to find there, seeing that they were never big, I reckon, in Norway, at least. A US band called, let's see, Spiderbags. And I don't know this band, and I know this band because the guy from Titus Andronicus, the main lead singer, songwriter, Patrick Stickles, he was always raving about this band and covering their songs and calling them the best live band in the world and such things. And sure enough, they seem like a very cool live band. I never got to see them. This was the last record they did I think, in 2013. And I remember the release day, they had a promotional show on YouTube, and it seemed like such a cool band, three-piece band, and they make it look so much fun to be in a band. And yeah, I listened to this a lot when it was released. Very, how to describe it, garage, punk, indie rock, lo-fi aesthetics, a bit at least on the other album I'm talking about. But my favorite track on this one would probably be Coffin Car, a 6-minute plus long track that seems like it could fall apart at any moment, but at the end it really takes off in the intensity and you get the full payoff. Really dig the vocals of the lead singer. Sounds a bit like Iggy Pop in the Stooges period, perhaps. I hope he's doing well, because he had a brain aneurysm a few years ago, I think. And prior to that, they released this compilation album of singles. Yeah, excellent stuff. Eileen, the song, is probably one of my favorites on here. And Papa Was a Shithead is another one. So very cool to pick this up for about the same price as the Peter Sarstedt one, actually. So didn't expect to find these. The feature album Frozen Letter on the red vinyl, they all sounded very good. And I kind of miss that period. There was a lot of bands with a garage sound that were great. Bands that were just going for it with the lo-fi aesthetics. Yeah, like King Khan and yeah, other bands around that period that was popular. Next, I found one last item at the store after having paid the 3 records I showed. Totaled about $40, which I thought was a good deal for those 3 records. I was about to leave and saw a crate behind the counter where I picked up my bag with new arrivals, and the one in front piqued my interest because it was the Suicide album. Not sure about the title now, but the one with Ghost Rider and Frankie Teardrop, the classic Suicide album that I own on CD. But yeah, anyway, the next album was a record that I was actually there to have a look for. And it's this classic post-punk masterpiece by the band Gang of Four Entertainment, highly influential post-punk record. So I've been debating if I should pick up a cheap new reissue or have a look for a UK 79 original. And so this seemed to be the UK original, but it didn't make sense because it was only $30. And I didn't have a lot of time, but I just started to check the Discogs to see if this was the UK original. And sure enough, yeah, the red spine. And it was in great condition, and even the record was in great condition. I can't fault it with anything. No hairlines, the labels checked out. So I thought, how am I making this great deal for this record in this condition? I paid the $30, went outside, got on the bus, started checking Discogs more, and then it dawned on me, of course, it didn't have the printed inner sleeve. So that was the reason I got it this cheap. If it was with the sleeve, I reckon this would be 3 times the price, perhaps. But I'm not complaining. I'm happy to be able to listen to the first press of this. If you check Discogs, there's quite a lot of nice comments about the pressing, and I've listened through it once now, and it sure sounds fantastic. The separation, the cutting guitars, and yeah, it sounds amazing actually. If you don't know this band, so as mentioned, a classic post-punk albums, you know, you have Wire albums and you have this, and this is one of the highlights actually for that period. Angular, danceable, and just a good fun punk record in from that period. So very neat to pick this up, essential record in the collection. And my idea now is to see if I can find a more banged up copy just to get at a cheap price, just to get the printer in the cover to make it complete. So it's an important one, I'd say. And one last record to talk about, this one. Thought maybe I should try to look for In the Wild to see if I can find an original. But there was a sale and I spotted this at a good price. And it's a very recent reissue, actually, I think from last year, of the Emitt Rhodes self-titled album. And yeah, Emitt Rhodes, when people mention this guy, you get the usual pitch, the one-man Beatle. He sure sounds a lot like Paul McCartney. I remember putting this on at a party, and my friend thought it actually was the Beatles, and I had to explain, no, it sounds quite a lot like Paul McCartney, but this is not the Beatles, and he started calling them something in the veins of bargain bin Beatles. But to me, this is quality stuff, really, and this is probably the highlight of the 3 studio albums he did around the 70s. So many great tracks on here, With My Face on the Floor, Promises I've Made. Lullaby is actually another song from a Wes Anderson film. Live Till You Die, a highlight also would be Somebody Made For Me. So I'm very fascinated about how good he is at crafting these tracks. Yeah, a guy who did this mostly on his own in his home recording studio. Yeah, just excellent stuff. So if you like Beatles or you know, the new nostalgic bands like Lemon Twigs. You're going to like this, I reckon. Yeah, so it was reissue from last year, pressed on green vinyl. I think the color is really nice on here. So I'm glad to pick this up in the collection. This is something I discovered maybe 10, 12 years ago and became a bit of a fascination. Highly would recommend it. So that's my new pickups. And next week is actually something I'm looking forward to, because I'm getting into the band The Twilight Sad, and they have a new album out next Friday. Amazing 3 singles that they have put out for that album, so I'm very excited, and I'm seeing them live. And they have been a band I've always been aware of. I've even seen them warm up for The Cure. But now I'm finally doing my lesson and checking out the albums, and yeah, I'm becoming a fan very fast. So maybe there will be a video or something about that release, and there will be more records and more videos. That's it for me today. Have a nice weekend, guys, and see you the next time.